Hi there folks, welcome to RRTV. My name's Bernie Weemers and I'm here with Adrian Jarvis tonight. We are broadcasting to you live from Sonoma, Infineon Raceway, in Sonoma, the Australian GT3 Championship, round 2. So welcome Adrian and Happy New Year.
Yeah, thanks Bernie. Happy New Year to you and the viewers, and thanks for having me back up at the booth. It's been a bit of a break for myself. Enjoyed the time off and cracking this season. I know I missed the first round, but the boys put on a show for us there. I did watch the highlights there, so great racing last week at Bathurst, and I'm sure the boys are going to turn it on for us again tonight at Sonoma.
I'm sure they will. Last time I looked, we had about 21 drivers joining us tonight for this great race, and 80 minutes around here, one compulsory pit stop. It's going to be a bit of a trial for the guys tonight, I think.
Yeah, I think it will be. It's not my favourite track, that's for sure. Well, it is and it isn't. I love the Cup circuit, but going this long circuit, so what they're doing tonight, Bernie, is actually running on the infield there and running down the drag strip there in the middle. So not my favourite part of the track, but look, it's definitely suited for these GT3s, and it's going to be quite interesting. We've got a McLaren, which is really good to see up there in the pointy end this season. We've got Gary there at the moment in the BMW, and Scott there, I think he's running the rough. I'm sure there's a rough up there somewhere. I know Baden's in the rough, so definitely covered there with a few manufacturers. And Tim Ballinger, your co-commentator last week, he's running the Ford, so he's dipped his hand in there with the only Ford running in 12th at the moment. So doing a good job there, considering he's in that Ford tonight, Bernie.
Yeah, it's great to see the Ford. It's the last season for the Ford GT3, as well as the rough. So having a look at the overall standings at the moment with 9 minutes qualifying to go, folks. Zachary Hanlon is leading the way in a McLaren on a 129.140, followed very closely by Gary Hamilton in the BMW. Then we have Scott Tamlin in the first of the roughs, Colin Schweck in a McLaren, Baden Reed in the second rough there. Aaron Osborne in 6th at the moment, 7th Timothy Schweck, then Adam Newton. Looking at 9th, Simon Feigl, and then 10th is Riley Blythe at the moment, followed by Lewis Kugeley, Adam Funslow. There's Tim Ballinger down there in 13th in the Ford GT3. 14th, Richard Brookfield. John Barry out of 15th at the moment. Then we have Kent Walker there in 16th. Then Darren Connors. Colin Mason Hayes. Pat O'Hara's got quite a bit of work to do, sitting in 19th at the moment. Simon Galley down there in 20th. Then we've got Lance Hawes 21st. Michael Hammond in another rough. 22nd, 23rd, George Fullerton, and rounding out the 24 is Jeff Rayleigh. So quite a good field there.
Yeah, certainly is, Benny, and it's to see the TD boys stepped up and put this on for the guys in the GT3 cars that love running these GT3s. So just a little bit of break by IRFF. I believe they're running a different series this season. They're doing King of the Nürburgring. So good to see the boys putting in GT3 until I believe the next update, and we should see those Mercedes and Aston Martins, Bernie.
Yeah, that's right. And yeah, as you said, IRFF, they're waiting to season 2 for the new release of the 2 GT3 cars. It's the Audi and the Mercedes. And then they'll be back with the SEK Queensland season 2. But at the moment, they're running King of the Nürburgring, or King of the Ring, which is quite an interesting one. Each driver there gets 4 laps, and each week a different car. So tonight's their first round, and they're running in the Radical around the Nürburgring. So I look at it a bit like, Targa Tasmania in a way. They set 4 laps, their fastest is the one where they finish, and then the times are tallied, and over the series, whoever gets the most points becomes King of the Ring. So quite a novel idea, really.
Certainly is, and I'll tell you what, without sponsorship though too, Benny, TD Racing wouldn't put this Australian GT3 on with CarNet. Guys do the auctions, I believe, so great to have a big sponsor like those aboard, and shows that our sport is that well recognised at the moment, and we're getting these sponsors on board.
Yeah, it's good to see. Last year we saw an increase in team sponsorship, and this year it's great to see the series we're covering anyway. There's an increase in event sponsors. Tonight, of course, CarNet Auctions is on board to sponsor the Australian GT3 Championship, and if you're looking for a car, folks, check out CarNet Auctions. And so hopefully we might end up with a broadcast sponsor one day, hey?
Yeah, that'd be really good, Bernie, getting a broadcast. It just goes to help to keep these broadcasts going for our sim community, our e-sport, which is recognised by a lot of people. And it's not a console game. It's not an Xbox. It's not a PlayStation. It's actually a simulated game, and they get real race car drivers in here. We get the likes of Shane Van Gisbergen, and we get Dale Earnhardt Jr. in here doing NASCAR. So, and I'm sure we get other Formula One guys on here as well. Now that we've got the McLaren, so it's not just a computer game. It is actually an e-sport, and it is lifelike, and it is difficult to do. It's not as easy as what you think it is. So, but it's enjoyable though, Bernie. I love it. I'm no expert at it. I've got to work. I think I've got to do it 8 hours a day to get any better. But I love it. It's a great thing to do, and you've got to give it a shot. It's fantastic.
Oh, it certainly is. Anyone out there that loves their motor racing, if you haven't tried iRacing, definitely jump on it. It is a simulation. These cars are all built basically off the real car, and they get a lot of engineering information, and they actually get their hands normally on the real car itself to go all the way through it to build these cars as accurately as possible. And then of course you've got the tracks, which are all laser scanned within 1 or 2 millimeters of the real track surface. So unless you're going to run in real life, I don't think you can get much closer than in the sim world than iRacing at the moment, Adrian.
No, certainly not, Bernie. I think the new MX-5s that's going to come out soon. It's actually they iRacing work with the MX-5's race team, the McLaren Formula One car. That's data has just come straight from McLaren. So what they've got there is all the same data that McLaren is feeding them. So they've got all the information from there. I believe the Mercedes-Benz GT3 that's not even out. The GT3 one, it's not out yet, but is getting developed with iRacing. So, they're full on. They do the whole technical stuff, and it's really good to see that. It goes to show that iRacing is just not a game. It is a sport, and the guys take it seriously, and they're we're getting real world racers out there having a crack at it as well, and you can see their talents when they're in the car though.
I certainly can. And a lot of these guys are the real talented ones. They're fast in any car you throw them in normally. But 3 minutes to go till the end of qualifying. Let's have a look at our weather. So we're at Infineon Raceway. 12 turns here. Oh, as we see there, one of the CarNet BMWs going into the wall, coming into the pits there. But 12 turns, 4 kilometres in length. Today it's looking pretty sunny out there with a clear sky. Wind speed's up a bit though, 15 kilometres per hour, and they've got another hot track temperature of 38 degrees Celsius. So it's going to be interesting to see how they go with tyres around here over the 80 minutes tonight.
Yeah, certainly will, Bernie. We know that once they start dipping into that 37 degree mark, that these tyres certainly chew out. So anyone brave enough to not take tyres tonight is going to be risking it, because they're going to lose a few seconds a lap, that's for sure. So I'd be looking at guys that won't take tyres tonight. But we know the McLaren's quite heavy on tyres, but on that heavy or hot track, every car's going to be heavy on tyres tonight.
Yeah, and we thought last week we were keeping an eye on the BMWs because we thought they would not take tyres, and it turned out that was at Bathurst last week. They had to take tyres like the McLaren, but some of the guys opted not to towards the end of the race, and it really worked in their favour. So no doubt all the drivers have kept a close eye on that, and they're looking at strategy for this week.
Yeah, I think the time limit that the boys have put on here through this season, 80 minutes, it's really gives you that chance to actually do strategy, not just for tyres but fuel as well. You know, start with a lower fuel load, and you know, use your fuel wisely. So and try and look after the tyres. So it's quite a clever initiative to run it for 80 minutes this season, just to run for this series.
Certainly is, and having a look at the moment, top 5 folks, Zachary Hanlon in the McLaren is he's taken pole with a 1:29.140, and look at those two roughs, Scott Tamlin and Baden Reed second and third, pushing Gary Hamilton down to 4th, and then Colin Schweck in McLaren rounds out our top 5 at the moment.
Yeah, those times there, Bernie, are phenomenal. I think we go from a 1:29.1, and then Adam Funslow there in the McLaren with a 1:30.1. So we've got a second up to the top 14. So that's pretty cool if you look at it in that respect. So top 14 cars are only a second apart, which is nothing really if you look at it in time wise.
Certainly is nothing, and we're looking at Gary Hamilton now. He's just coming around on his final lap, but the time has elapsed, so I think he's going to run out of time, and this time won't count, which means Zachary Hanlon will take pole tonight. And yeah, he's lost it, put it in the wall, taken the front off that BMW, but fortunately this is a simulation, so he gets a brand new car for the race.
Yeah, that's the only bonus about our esport here, Bernie. We can throw them into the wall and go back to the pits and grab yourself a brand new one at no expense. So no, you don't have to worry about your team principal having to go at you unless you take out your teammates near the end of the race, which obviously was a bit of excitement last week. But anyway, that was last week's race. We've got this week to concentrate with only a minute or so to go before we start. So let's see what happens tonight, Bernie.
Yeah, definitely. So let's take you through the grid, folks, while the final qualifying just wraps up now. There's a couple of guys out on the track, but I don't think they're going to improve on their time. So having a look at our grid, Zachary Hanlon will be starting out of pole position with a 1:29.140 in the McLaren. Scott Tamlin there, great drive in the rough, bringing him in second, followed by Baden Reed in another rough in third. Fourth is Gary Hamlin from the BMW. Colin Schweck will start out of 5th position. 6th will be Lewis Kugeley. Aaron Osborne out of 7th in a McLaren. Then we have Simon Feigl out of 8th position. And I'll just see if we can get our camera up. We're still waiting for them to come up here. So Simon Feigl 8th, 9th Timothy Schweck. Adam Newton will start out of 10th position today. 11th is Blythe, followed by Tim Ballinger, 12th in the only Ford GT3 out there. Adam Funslow in a McLaren will start out of 13th. 14th is John Barry. I'm just trying to see if we can get pictures. We will in a moment. Richard Brookfield out of 15th tonight. Hit the wrong button. Kent Walker will start out of 16th. 17th, Connors, followed by Mason Hayes out of 18th. Pat O'Hara down there in 19th position. Simon Galley will start out of 20th. Lance Hawes 21st. George Fullerton will start out of 22nd. Mark Hammond, a lot of work to do from 23rd. And then Jeff Rayleigh will start out of 24th position tonight. So we can see the cars just lining up, starting their parade lap very shortly, and they'll do the full length of this track, and then they will get the green.
Isn't that good, Bernie? It's been waiting for this for a while. We've got a McLaren up there, a couple of roughs and a BMW, so something good. It's taken a while to get to this point. I'm sure next season it may be different again, but who knows? But it's good to see that we've got the McLaren up there. It's been something that we've been waiting for, 12 months, I think, Bernie?
Oh, we've been waiting a long time for it to happen, and quite honestly, a lot of people dived off that car, didn't they? Because it was pretty much a dead duck, but with the latest update, it's definitely a strong car. And it's interesting, if we look at the top 5 at the moment, we've pretty much got all 3 makes of cars in there.
Yeah, it certainly is good. The McLaren was just, it was worse than the rough, and which is quite sad. I mean, the McLaren is actually quite a nice car. It was quick, and it was either was quick in a straight line and just no good in corners, or it was really good in corners and just really slow. So it was just a hard car to get it right. But it looks like the boys have worked on it, and definitely a car to have this season. It looks like at the moment.
Yeah, it's definitely they've definitely made it a lot better than what it was, that's for sure, and it's pretty much proof because we've got Zachary Hanlon on pole in that McLaren, but then we've got right next to him the first of the roughs there, and what's his name that's driving that car? Scott Tamlin is in that car.
Yeah, and it's good to see that we've got Gary in there as well with the BMW, so it's just good to see these cars up there. I know Tim's the only lone soul there in the Ford. It must be a bit of a struggle there, because I think he might have been up there a little bit further if he, say, picked the McLaren, but being the Ford in that position, the only Ford there, top job by Tim tonight so far.
Oh yeah, definitely, and it'll be interesting to see how the Ford goes around here over the 80 minutes. Now folks, this is a timed race, 80 minutes around here, and there will be pit stops. As we can see now, pace car's in. The field is now in the hands of Zachary Hanlon, who's bringing them around the final corner. He's put the foot down. He's got a good jump there and takes the lead as they come across to start round 2, the Australian GT3 Championship.
Yeah, good start there by Zach. He nailed it there out of the hairpin. I think he might have just got a little bit of jump before the hairpin, to be honest there, Bernie, but got it out of that hairpin quite well and took the lead solidly, and he's actually making a gap already, Bernie. So he's really starting to gap this field straight up. So great job there by Zachary on cold tyres.
Yeah, it's definitely a good job, and further down the field it's all a clean start, folks. And Adam Funslow, we saw Adam up there, I think he was on the podium last week. He's down in 13th, but keep an eye on him because he was down the order at the start of last week and drove his way up as the race progressed. But looking at the front at the moment, Zachary Hanlon, he's stretched that out to 9/10 of a second already.
Yeah, he's definitely on the money, isn't he? He's driving the wheels off that car, so I think he's got the sniff of the lead in this championship, and he wants to get a couple of hands on that and try and hold this through out the season, and consistency will give you the win here, so keep that McLaren up the front is the best way to do it.
Definitely, as we can see now, Gary Hamilton challenging Baden Reed in the final corner. Baden's gone wide, and that's going to allow Gary to take 3rd position in the BMW.
Yeah, Baden went a little bit deep there, didn't he, Bernie? He was trying to protect the line, but Gary got that. Geez, look at the speed on that rough. He was closing in there, but I think Gary's got this covered for the next few corners until they come back around. So great driving there from Gary. Just upset Baden there for a minute. Got that position, so great driving there.
Certainly was. He was. You could see the strength of that BMW down the back part of the corner, and further back we've got who's that? I think that's Colin Schweck starting to put the pressure on Lewis Kugley, I think. Yeah,
and he's also got his teammate sitting there. I believe it's Aaron as well. So Aaron was strong last week at Bathurst there that I saw. So you know, Colin Schweck and Aaron, they were quite strong at Bathurst. So, you know, those boys you're going to watch, you have to watch out. Obviously, Aaron won the SUK Championship last season, so he's a fantastic driver, that one, and we'll have to keep an eye on those guys as the race goes on.
Yeah, and Aaron Osborne's down there in 7th position, and he's right behind Colin at the moment and trying to make that move. And behind him we've got Simon Feigl, and looks like he's in the red Way of Life sponsored BMW.
I think Adam just positioned there too, Bernie. So Adam's slowly moving up. So awesome job there by Adam Funslow, that is. So doing a great job there at the moment, and slowly picking his way up towards the front.
Yeah, and he's right behind the very wide Mr. Ballinger here in the Ford GT3. So how wide are those cars? Let's jump on board with Adam and do a lap around here in this McLaren. So folks, that was a lap around Infineon here with Adam Funslow in 13th. And I tell you what, Adrian, the Ford GT3 is pretty closely matched to that McLaren around this track.
Yeah, he's doing okay, isn't he, Benny? It's amazing. Like, I think with a little bit more time and a few more drivers in that Ford GT, it probably won't be that bad of a car to drive. It's like anything, just I suppose it got shelved there a couple of seasons ago, just because it was really good for a season, and then they shelved it again. So it was quite strange why they did that, but you know, this happens, and they keep trying to make sure that everything works out evenly, and we get these different manufacturers in. But I believe we're getting the Merc and the Aston next build, so that should be great to have those two cars aboard.
Yeah, and from what my understanding is, iRacing aren't increasing the car limit higher than 5, so they're bringing in the Audi and Mercedes, which are in real world in the GT3 for realism, and they're dropping the Rough and the Ford GT3, who in the real world aren't part of the GT3, so they're pretty much just been filler cars, I guess you could say, until they could get all these other cars done. But you know, it'll be quite interesting seeing how the Audi comes out, and the Mercedes. I'm sure a lot of people are looking forward to that.
Yeah, certainly were. And he's Adam Funslow just had a lose there in turn 3, I think, there, Bernie. So he's lost a few positions down in 18th. So he's got a little bit of work to do. But lucky it's got 80 minutes here, and he's just got to get his head down and focus there, Bernie.
Yeah, he certainly does. We'll just jump on the Carnat Auctions replay here and have a look. Aaron Osborne's also had a bit of an off. As we can see, Adam there, he's got it crossed up. As you said, coming into turn 3 there, oh, he nearly got cleaned up. But fortunately, he's kept it going, but that's dropped him all the way down to 18th position.
Yeah, it's lost a few positions, and I thought I'd just jump back up here, Benny, up to Zach Zachary at the moment, 2.5 second lead. That's a massive lead. We've only had a few laps here at the moment, 4 laps coming up to the 5th lap, so 2.5 seconds. That's a mighty fine effort there from Zach, and obviously we do have pit stops, which is obviously going to throw in a bit of a mix here, but any time that you can get 2.5 seconds on your competition, it's a definitely an advantage to yourself, isn't it?
Oh, it certainly is. If we look at the top 5, they are so spread out at the moment. We've got Zachary in first, Scott Tamlin second. He's 2.2 seconds down, and we'll bring up the driver comparison here, but he's got 1.5 seconds over Gary Hamilton at the moment in third. Gary in return has 2.2 seconds over Lewis Kugeley in fourth, and then Lewis, well, he's got his hands full with Baden Reed there in the other rough, trying to take that position, but it's really spread out considering we've only completed 5 laps around here.
Yeah, it certainly is, and just looking at that, Bernie, Baden Reed has lost a position there to Lewis, so I'm not sure what happened to Lewis, Baden there to get Lewis around him, so you know, might have had another moment there, but obviously that's something that we've missed, and it looks like Lewis is actually starting to gap Baden there.
Yeah, and from what I can see from the cameras here, it looks like Lewis is carrying a bit of front left panel damage, but obviously it's not slowing that car down any.
Yeah, I haven't quite seen it yet, Bernie. I'm just trying to get my camera angles set, because it's just it's such a hard track to get your camera angles right here. I've just gone back to the replay here trying to find out what happened to Baden here with his off track.
Okay, and I'm just having a look further back, folks, as well to see if I can find anything. Like, he had an off track at the start of the race. That's the only one I can find at the moment, but while you investigate that, Adrian, I'll keep the viewers informed of how the rest of the field's going at the moment. So Aaron Osborne, well, he's still battling it out with Colin Schweck here for 6th and 7th in the 2 McLarens. And then further down the field, just seeing, we've got another good battle brewing down here with Colin Mason Hayes in the Carnet BMW, and he's trying to close up on Richard Brookfield in the Next Level Racing Pagney and McLaren, and that's for 14th, 15th. Adam Funslow, well, he's in 17th now, so he's just made a move on Pat O'Hara. And yeah, rounding out our field of 21 is Simon Gelly down here in the number 100 rough. He's in 21st position, 27 seconds down from the leader at this stage.
Thanks for that, Bernie, and I'll quickly update the viewers. It was coming just off the at the end of the drag strip there, Bernie. Lewis got underneath Baden there, so got that move done, and it looks like that BMW is quite strong with Lewis. So we know Lewis is quite familiar with the BMW, so obviously he's got the feel for that thing, and we know that the roughs are actually struggling this season, so a good pass there by Lewis to get through on Baden there.
And Scott Tamlin's just gone through the infield on turn 3, and that's allowed Gary Hamilton to move up into second position in the 3C's BMW. So a mistake there for the rough drivers cost him 1 position at this stage.
Yeah, once again, Bernie, it looks like, you know, they get a lap out of these roughs, but it looks like they don't have the staying powers like they used to, does it? It looks like one of these cars that are definitely, iRacing is definitely giving them a disadvantage, and we know that they're going for the next build, but goes to show that it's probably not the preferred car to have this season.
Yeah, it's quite funny because that car was, well, not funny, but peculiar, you know, because the BMW and the rough were, well, the rough was pretty strong last season. This season struggling a bit, but I guess, you know, with it being retired the end of this season, iRacing's not going to put a lot of work into fine-tuning that for this series. No,
that's for sure, and we know that GT, it wasn't something that they really planned on turning the Ford, I should say, wasn't really planned to go as a GT3, but Obviously they had, in their back of the mind, they wanted to go to 4 cars eventually, and that's what we're going to get soon. So, well, actually 5, so we do have the Aston Martin coming along at some stage there too, Bernie. So it'd be good to see 5 GT3 cars on a track at some stage.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, I guess we're going to get 5 next season, aren't we? What are we going to have? The BMW, the McLaren, the Audi, the Mercedes, and well, that's 4, isn't it?
Yeah, that's 4, and we know that they've got the Aston Martin there as a GT3 as well, so just a matter of when they're going to release that one or when they do the work. But obviously we know they've got other things on their mind at the moment, and you know, they're doing a great job and always giving us a quality product. So kudos to the boys at iRacing. They're always making sure that we're trying to stay with our racing and enjoy our racing.
Oh yeah, it's they do a brilliant job there at iRacing. Very small company, they definitely punch above their weight, and for online racing, well, I don't think they've really got a big competitor. R-Factor 2 League Racing's probably the closest, but it's still nothing like what iRacing's built. Yeah,
that's for sure, Benny. You know, iRacing has done it the right way. You know, they've taken their time a lot of the times to get things right and get it all sorted. And you know, that's why they didn't rush into team racing. They didn't rush into tyre wear. They didn't rush into marbles. You know, they knew what they could and couldn't do, and they gave us the best what they can do, and that's what we get. And it's brilliant stuff to see this, and this is why we get brilliant racing here in these leagues in iRacing.
Yeah, it's definitely right, and we can see that at the moment. Lewis Kugeley's closed right up on Scott Tamlin, and as they come down to the back end of the circuit, this you'll notice the BMW is a lot stronger than the rough, and they can actually close in on them, or in Gary Hamilton's case, try to pull out a lead. And as we can see Lewis closing right up the back now with Scott Tamlin.
Yes, big difference these days. I mean, if that was last season, that rough would have been taken away from the BMW. It would have been left for dead, and the only place that it would have had a sniff was coming into the braking zone, and that would have been it. The rough was just superior everywhere on tracks. Didn't matter what track you went to, it was quite superior. But we see these days now it's just a little bit slacking in areas. So the BMW is quite good, and just had a glimpse there, Bernie. I don't know if you caught that with your cameraman. He just flickered there. Someone had a little bit of an off there.
Okay, no, we didn't. We saw Baden Reed take out a cone entering turn 1. Darren Connors was flickering on here. Tim Ballinger, well, he's heading off, so let's go and see what Uncle Tim's done, huh?
Yeah, it might have been Tim. Just trying to check. It's just so hard to see. I did see someone getting a little bit loose, so I wasn't too sure.
Yeah, it was Tim Ballinger there, getting it loose down through the S's on the bottom there, getting that Ford GT3 all kinds of sideways. Is he going to keep it off the wall? No, he just taps it with the nose. But yeah, you saw the boss man himself getting it all mixed up there.
Which is something that he didn't want me to do, but oh well, them's the breaks. We just get those sort of things, and unfortunately I'll bring what I can see, so I'm in trouble tomorrow, mate. Well,
you certainly are, and I tell you what, he was almost in trouble re-entering because he nearly collided with one of his teammates in that BMW, and I think that was Colin Mason Hayes was just going around as he re-entered, but fortunately they didn't collect, and or else there would have been a real interesting debrief.
Yeah, I know what that brief would have been, Bernie, but anyway, I won't go into that too much, but the boys are back on track. They're doing well. I would have been interesting to see the debrief last week. I wasn't in that one personally, but that would have been interesting last week, that's for sure.
Yeah, and for the viewers that didn't see that, 3 Carnet cars came together with how many laps to go? They had about 3. They were all racing for the top 3 positions. Fortunately, it didn't cost them much, but it definitely had us on the edge of our seats, that's for sure.
Yeah, Zachary, I think he got nickname. Oh, jeez, I had him on the tip of the tongue. I forgot him. Old Colin Bradbury, I think it was. Was it Colin Bradbury or Stephen Bradbury of the Carnet.com series? There, he was sitting there in third and ended up winning the race because the two boys in front took themselves out. So he got the old Bradbury tag for that one, Bernie.
Yeah, well, he definitely had to thread the needle, and it was quite funny because I said the lap before that the boys had to be careful because that's where Ambrose and Murphy came together, and then the very next lap they all came together, so that was the ultimate commentator's curse there.
Yeah, it certainly was, and lucky I wasn't around for that one, so nothing blamed on me on that night, but look, I'm sure I'll get the blame for something along the lines tonight, so I'll got that with broad shoulders.
Yeah, so having a look at this gap at the moment, Zachary Hanlon, that gap's out to 5.8 seconds over Gary Hamilton at the moment. Gary, in turn, he's starting to get 1.4 seconds on Scott Tamlin, and Scott is just holding station there with Lewis Kugeley within 9/10 of a second, 8/10 of a second. Baden Reed, though, he's looking pretty racy here in the other rough, and I think he's starting to put the pressure on Lewis, which is slowing these three up a little bit while they check out those rear view mirrors.
Yeah, Lewis hasn't really gotten away like I thought he might have. He got around Baden, and I thought he had a bit of an opportunity there to get through and sort of keep him, but I don't know about you, Benny, but I'm just seeing Lewis flicker a little bit at the moment, so maybe it might be off-putting, but he's definitely closed in there now onto Scott there at the moment, so there's a little bit of up and down at the moment, isn't it? Or maybe it's that damage on Lewis's car that's not making him go as quick.
Yeah, it could be that damage affecting him a little bit, but the other guy that's one of our movers and shakers is Simon Feigl here in the BMW. He's starting to put the pressure on Aaron Osborne for that 6th position.
Sorry about that, Bernie. One of those things. Yeah, he's definitely putting a little bit of pressure there on Aaron, and Aaron's in that McLaren, so Simon's actually got that BMW hooked up as well, which is good to see. Those BMWs are still predictable as ever, and a good car to be consistent, I suppose you could say, Bernie.
Yeah, and it looks like he's carrying a new sponsor on that side of that car, the way of life, I think it says, so it'd be interesting to find out what that's about if we get to speak to Simon at some point.
Yeah, certainly will be, as we've got definitely a lot of Carnet guys out there, Bernie. Probably what we say, a fifth of the field at the moment out there, so definitely a lot of Carnet cars out there, and all different brands too, Bernie, which is good to see.
Oh, it definitely is good to see, and all those cars are, as always, really well presented. But, Carnet Auctions is the naming sponsor of this series, so it's good to see a strong representation of the TD Racing boys out there.
Yeah, it's a big company there. If you any time that you're looking at buying a new car, those guys will definitely help you out, and check them out. Carnet.com, I believe, there, Bernie. So they'll help you out. Give them a question or query, and I'm sure they'll help you out in what you're after. So definitely good to have those sponsors aboard, and definitely give them a plug, because we really need sponsors like this on board, and we'll definitely give you a plug because you deserve it to support the guys like this in here, because it's not a console, like I said earlier. It's definitely a simulated sport, so get on board, and you'll definitely get the coverage, and I'm sure there'll be guys there looking at your product once you've been on here. That's for sure, Bernie. Oh
yeah, that's for sure. Hopefully the community gets behind all these sponsors and just shows them, that it does help them as well as us to sponsor these great events. The other piece of news, folks, through the week was the Australian Endurance Championship. They've named a naming rights sponsor, and that's selby.com.au. They've come on board to back that series, so that's two great sponsors there coming on board to back two great series at this stage.
Yeah, certainly is, Bernie. It's always good to have sponsors. Shelby, obviously, those guys have, the owner there of Shelby actually races in this, and he decided to put his money into this, and it's good to have, Bernie. We need sponsors, and it's good to see that guys are noticing that if they put their name out there, they're actually going to get the benefits for being a sponsor in iRacing. It's beneficial for everyone, that's for sure.
Oh, that's for sure, and especially the line of business Selby's in, they do a lot of audio and computer equipment, so they're getting in front of the right audience there. Oh, as we've just lost, who was that going around? Aaron Osborne, big lose.
That was massive, Bernie. The back just stepped around, so I can see him going into the pits this time around as his teammate, Uncle Tim. He's been in the pits and done his service, so he's done and dusted. So he's got a while there to run on those tyres. He's got it about, I'm trying to work it out in my maths, about 50 minutes. So he's got a while there on those tyres, and so will Aaron, but he's going to have to suck it and see how well he goes on that, because he'll need to fix that car, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, that was a really bizarre lose, wasn't it? We're just looking at this replay, and that piece of the track where he lost that's normally under full throttle, and it's unusual to see that McLaren just break away hard into the fence, and very unfortunate.
Yeah, just one of those little niggling things, I suppose, with those McLarens still, Bernie. Just on that edge, if you flick the steering wheel or something like that, maybe it just gets loose. I haven't actually been in the McLaren yet. Like I said, I've only just got back recently off a little bit of a break. See Adam trying to have a look there at Collins. So just a little bit of fight here back down into 12th and 13th. And Adam's trying to make his way back up from the lose earlier, but great racing all the way through at the moment.
Certainly is, and we just saw Aaron Osborne there going in the pits to take service, and no doubt he'll use his fast repair. He might even opt to throw in the tyres and the fuel at this point to recover and go for the next 55 minutes to the end of this race, because I no doubt he'd have his pit window would be open by now.
Yeah, for sure, Bernie. I think once you've got that hour to go, you've definitely got that pit window, your pit windows open. So anywhere with an hour to go, you should be right to come in, get fuel, tyres, and go from there. And I think if you've got an hour to go, you definitely want to take tyres, because your tyres are going to be shot by the end of it, that's for sure. Yeah,
that's right. And as you said earlier, we're riding with Adam Funslow here again, as he's starting to put the pressure on Colin. Adam's up to 13th at the moment, so he's gained 5 positions since his mistake.
Yeah, driving the car well. He was driving well last week, as you mentioned earlier, so he's got a bit of work to do here, though. He's behind Colin, and Colin's driving that BMW quite well at the moment, making it as wide as it possibly can be. So you don't have friends out there, it's all for one, obviously, so doing a great job there and holding Adam back at the moment, but Adam's got to work his way around and doing a great job, and looks like he's definitely got a sponsor on there. I think we picked up on it last season there with iDeck there, Bernie, so it looks like Adam's got a little sponsor there on board, which he carried through the AEC rounds there last season.
Yeah, it's iLEC and Clipsal he's got on that car, and it's a very nicely presented car. But I tell you what, coming out of that hairpin when he put the foot down, the rear end broke loose there, and I thought he was going to spin into the fence, as he's now on the outside of Colin, going the long way around. If he hadn't pulled that move off, I would have bought him a beer.
Yeah, not the way to do it. It's a bit tight there. He's got the run though, Bernie. Got the run into here, coming out of the geez, Bernie, it's been a while, so he's got the move done anyway, and he's got another position. So driving well is Adam tonight.
Yeah, so that's up to 12th, and we'll no doubt see him pulling away. His next next person he's got to catch, big ask here, is John Barry. And John Barry's in the Blackadder Motorsport BMW in 11th, and the gap back to Adam is, well, it all lies. Let's put it this way. The gap's probably about 15 to 20 seconds. No, there you go, 14 seconds. It's just updated now.
Yeah, so it's a bit down the road there, isn't it? So 14 seconds, but the way Adam's driving, I'm sure he'll get there in a little while. So that'll be something to watch there at the moment. We've still got a few battles, haven't we? Like Lance Hawes at the moment, he's a little bit in front at the moment. Well, yeah, they're close, but they're not super close, are they?
Yeah, he's got, let's have a look at Lance Hawes in the Kimi Rural Fencing entry. He's got 1 second up on Pat O'Hara at the moment for TD Racing, and 6/10 down on Darren Connors. So the field's starting to spread out quite a bit, folks. We've been racing here now for about 30 minutes. We've got 51 minutes to go till the end of this race. So what I'll do now is take you through the full field, so you can see where your favourite driver is at the moment. So leading the way with a big gap is Zachary Hanlon. He's got a gap of 4.4 seconds over Gary Hamilton in second position in the 3Cs BMW. Scott Tanlin's about 7 seconds down from the lead in the Martini painted rough. Lewis Kugeley 9.5 seconds down from the leader, and he's now being challenged by Baden Reed in 5th position. 6th is Simon Feigl. Now it's going to be interesting to see how Feigl goes here, because he's definitely one of the movers in this field here tonight, and but he's got to close another 5 seconds before he can have a crack at Baden Reed. In 7th we have Colin Schweck. 8th is his brother Timothy Schweck. Then 9th is Adam Newton. Now Adam is 24 seconds down from the lead, and he is coming under pressure by Riley Blythe in the Carnet Auctions TD Racing entry. 11th is John Barry for Blackadder Motorsport. 12th, Adam Funslow, making his way back up through the field. We just saw him make a move on Colin Hayes. Pat O'Hara, he's gained a few positions as well. I think he started down in 19th. He's up to 14th at this stage. 15th is Lance Hawes for Kimi Rural Fencing. 16th is Darren Connors in another Carnet entry. 17th, Kent Walker in another Carnet entry. Then we've got Simon Gelly. Simon was running in 21st. He finds himself up in 18th at this stage, just ahead of Richard Brookfield in the Next Level Pagnian Racing McLaren. 20th, Aaron Osborne. Oh, as he's smoking it again, he's not happy with that car whatsoever. That setup's a bit loose, I think. And then 21st is Tim Ballinger. So that's our field, Adrian.
Thanks, Benny. Yeah, it's definitely spread out now. We know that Aaron and Tim are the only ones that are pitted, and they've got a long way to go, and Aaron really does not want to burn those tyres up. We know that the marker is pretty bad on tyres, so with 48 minutes to go, he doesn't want to be burning those tyres up, that's for sure.
No, he's got to look after them, but I just noticed as he goes wide again, he's definitely struggling with the setup of this car as we're riding with him. But yeah, when we crossed to him, he had a bit of smoke coming out of the rear as it started to break traction again through the S's, where we saw Tim Ballinger lose the Ford GT3 earlier.
You might be trying to push that car a little bit too hard, Bernie, instead of just letting it go through the motions, because he's got a lot of ground to catch up, because he did have that big lose and he lost quite a few spots. So and Zachary isn't that far away from these guys, to be totally honest. If they're not careful, they could go a lap down. I see Tim there just has just finished going through the drag strip there, and Zachary's not that far behind. So the boys are definitely behind the 8 ball at the moment.
Yeah, well, that's right. They've got to make sure they can stay on this lead lap, and of course we don't have any yellows here, so if they're going to looking at their times, they're lapping in 1:32s. Our race leader Zach Hamlin, his previous lap was a 1:30.345, so he's making about 2 seconds a lap up on the Aaron and Tim at the moment.
Yeah, which is a lot, Bernie. 2 seconds a lap is a lot of time that you're gaining, and to see where they are at the moment. I'm looking at Tim now. He's coming up through the top, so he's working his way up the top of the hills here at the moment. He's now coming down where the Cup cars would normally go straight through, so he's now starting to come through the infield. And if I go back to Zach, he's just reached the top of the hill and now coming down, so he'll be on top of Tim really soon. I think given 5 laps or so, he might actually be on the back of Tim's tail.
Yeah, he's not that far behind him at all. It's probably guesstimating probably about 5 seconds, 6 seconds behind him at this stage.
Yeah, that's about right, Bernie. He's definitely got the pace here at the moment. His last lap was at 1:30.8, and Tim did a 31.9. So still that 1 second, at least a second a lap quicker that time around. So the boys have actually got to push here a bit to try and get through, but obviously we know Zach's still got a pit yet, so they've still got a pit, so they are 1 pit in front of them, but knowing that too, Benny, they're going to run on these tyres a lot longer, so they're still going to lose time by the end of the race, but they should be a bit quicker than this.
Yeah, I think the last lap now was a 1:31, so they're quicker than Simon Galley and Kent Walker, as they're riding with Zachary now, waiting for him to come across the line. We'll just see what his last lap was. He did a 1:33.65, so he's taken out another 1.5 seconds from the back markers at this point.
Yeah, he certainly is, and I've had a little bit of a chuckle there from Hayden. Obviously not racing tonight. Hey Hayden, how you going, mate? He reckons that Zach's murdering those cones at the moment. I don't think he's the only one that is murdering those cones there in the last turn. I think I've seen a few guys trying to take those cones out, but the little magic gnome keeps putting them back to get ran over, so why not?
Yeah, he takes a very wide line, doesn't he, entering turn 1, and he nails that cone every single time. In fact, we were riding with him last time by, and I thought he was about to go in the pits until he found his favourite gnome cone and took it out again. We'll keep an eye on Gary. Let's see if, Gary probably won't get an opportunity to hit the cone, because no doubt Zachary will remove it before he gets there.
Yeah, more than likely. It takes a few seconds for it to come back. I'll drop back down to Scott, see if the magic gnome cone comes back while Scott comes along, and see if he puts that the cone back by the time. No, yes it is. It came back. So there you go. Scott's just took out one of those cones. So yeah, like I said, everyone's taking those cones out there near the pit lane entry. Yeah,
they're all taking it, and the gnome will be earning his pay down there. Baden Reed at the moment in 5th position is still trying to catch Lewis. He did catch him, but then Lewis put the foot down again and pulled out a bit of a gap. Now that gap at this stage is 1.1 seconds.
Yeah, the closest I've on my screen at the moment here, Bernie, is Lance Hawes and Darren Connors. They're about the 2 closest cars that on track. They're not super close, but they're close enough that could be a hindrance, and I think Darren's got Kent behind him at the moment as well, so yeah, it's a little bit quiet, but it'd be interesting if they caught up to each other, that's for sure.
Yeah, and the other interesting thing is the retirement rate is a lot less than it was at Bathurst. At the moment, we've had no retirements. We've had 2 guys in the pits for various reasons, both spun. But apart from that, all the guys are still on the same lap, and we have all the field still running after 24 laps around Infineon Raceway.
Yeah, somehow I don't think it's because it's wide open spaces here that they haven't retired yet, Bernie. Those walls wouldn't have collected too many retirements at Bathurst. I don't think. Just people probably couldn't drive Bathurst. That's my explanation.
Yeah, that's a good explanation. I don't know about the walls though, but yeah, it was very high retirement rate, and I guess let's say it was not the walls' fault.
No, it can't be the wall's fault, even though they're basically the racing line. But it gets a bit quite hairy up there. Doesn't matter what car you drive. Yeah, it's definitely daunting going up there, especially in you think it's daunting in the simulator, but I had to go up in a real car, Bernie. That's for sure. It'd be interesting. I'm sure I'd have to get a new pair of overalls if I went up with a race car driver.
Yeah, me too. I did take in my, as we see Riley Blythe there. He's still holding it. He's lost it again. That McLaren's bit in the same spot that we saw Aaron Osborne get caught out there, and that's cost Riley at least 1 to 2 positions. So yeah, the McLaren's a bit unstable through that part of the circuit.
Yeah, just went back and checked that replay. As they're coming down and it's loading that left rear, it's certainly getting a little bit loose, as he looks like he may have lost that other position. So yeah, it's just not handling the track, and it's a technical part. You really can't be that quick around there. You think you can, but you just can't, Bernie. It's just it catches you out, I reckon. He gets that position back as well, Bernie. So got a little bit of help there from. I'm just checking the thing. It was who he got around there at the moment.
Yeah, that was
Simon.
Yeah, Simon's down a lap. So I think Simon's passed him, and then he just stepped aside so he doesn't hold him up, which is good sportsmanship there. The reason Simon's down, he had a bit of an off there on lap 23, and he went straight in the pit. So we'll have a look at this replay. So at this point, Simon was having a good run. He was coming up through the field, and he lost it coming up towards the top of the hill, and looped it around there. And I think at that point, he's decided he needs tyres on that car with 40 minutes to go.
There's something else that we've missed again, Bernie, which generally happens with us guys. We do miss something now and again, but I don't know if you've noticed, but Scott Tamlin's dropped down the order to 5th and is now behind Baden. So he's had an issue there at some stage, because not only has Gary got around him, we've got Lewis and Baden. So obviously Scott's had an issue somewhere. Yeah,
we're just jumping back to the replay here now to have a look at. He's coming up to turn 3 and he's run off, and he's basically caught the grass, and then he's exited stage left, and that's cost him a number of positions. The other guy that's had an off is Timothy Schweck, and this all happened on the same lap 25. So we'll have a look at what occurred to Timothy. So they all decide they're going to have an incident on the same lap by the looks of it.
Well, it was very generous of him. Not?
They're just making sure we stay awake, that's all. So it doesn't look like any big issues there for Timothy. He's just run a bit wide and pulled up an off track, but he hasn't a lot wide, 4 tyres off, but he held on to it.
He's trying to do a bit of rallycross there, Bernie.
Yeah, and that was down the bottom S's there. But yeah, at the moment the gap's closing down on Zach Hamlin here, Gary Hamilton's 2.8 seconds down now, so he's starting to make the moves. Looking at the gap, Zachary Hanlon last lap 1:31.027, Gary Hamilton a 1:34.81. So maybe the tyres on Zach's car's starting to go off a little bit.
They might be, Bernie. I think from the rumours I've heard through the guys is that the Mac is really not keen on those tyres and tends to chew the tyres a lot more than the rest of them. So obviously the idea here is that maybe we keep an eye on these BMW drivers, and they may not take tyres on this track, Bernie, even though it's 41 degrees. It would be silly not to, but you might get that advantage over the Maccas this time around.
Yeah, well, with 36 minutes to go, it'll be interesting to see who does take tyres and who doesn't. Having a look at the pit times at the moment, Aaron Osborne a 21.1 second stop. Tim Ballinger did 10.3 seconds. So in the Ford GT3, he's just thrown a bit of fuel in that and didn't bother with tyres. Darren Connors 45.8 seconds. Simon Galley 29.6, and Lance Hawes at the moment, he's the slowest in the pits, 56.7 seconds.
Bernie, and Scott's gone for a skid again. So if he doesn't go into the pits now, Bernie, they'd be crazy. I think he's losing his tyres, I think.
Is that Scott Tamlin?
Yeah, it certainly was, Bernie. Through the S's near the back area as he comes into the pits now, and he's got a little bit of damage, maybe going through for that big skid that he went through there.
Yeah, we'll jump back and have a look at that. But yeah, he's definitely got front left damage. And we're just picking it up as he's coming into the S's here. Yeah, he got his left rear just on that ripple strip a little bit, which I think's unsettled the car as he went through Ballinger Bend, as I'm calling it, in memory of someone who crashed there not too long ago. Yeah, but a long skid across the infield there. Oh, tell you what, he was lucky he didn't flip that as he caught that ripple strip.
Yeah, I noticed that, Bernie. He definitely went for a ride, didn't he? So definitely a scary moment there for Scott, and wisely went straight to the pits and got some tyres. So wise move there. So yeah, it's really harsh on tyres at the moment, this track, isn't it?
Certainly is. And the way he launched that car, he could almost have a surname of Pie, I reckon.
Yeah, for sure. As just having a look at these pit stop times, we've got a few there with Lance and Colin at the moment. They're up to 56, so I'd say they've taken a full bank of tyres there, where some of these guys may only opt for 2 tyres. I now know that that it does a tyre each, so you know you're looking at a lengthy amount of times in the pit stall, which is probably what those 2 BMW drivers have taken there, Bernie.
Yeah, well, Scott Tamlin threw 4 tyres on, and his stop was a 40-second stop, so I can only think Lance and Mason Hayes, they might have overfilled those cars. Or got a pit penalty, sorry.
Yeah, could have got a pit penalty. That's definitely a possibility, so that's something we may find out later on. But yeah, it's quite interesting. Nearly a whole minute, which is a big time around here. That's what's 2/3 of the lap that you miss out on.
Yeah, and it's quite interesting now. You can really see the differences in the McLaren and the BMW as far as tyre wear goes, because Gary Hamilton, who we're riding with now, is just under 2 seconds. 1.9 seconds is the gap at this point.
Yeah, he can see the leader in front of him, so closing in there, and just having a quick look at these lap times as they come back around, Bernie. We'll see how quick or what the difference is there now. So a 30.8 for Zach and a 30.6, so 0.2 of a second quicker, Gary. So doing a great job there, Gary, in the BMW at the moment.
He certainly is, and you know, once the drivers can see the guy in front, something magical happens, doesn't it, where they can just get that gap and close it, and they just sort of will that car or push it just that bit harder to get that gap closed up.
Yeah, Benny, it's hats off to these guys. I just don't know how they can do it. I get out there and your first stint is pretty good. I'm usually quite comfortable. Then your second stint is the one that I usually lose out on. I seem to go slower. So I just watch these guys and I'm in awe. And so we can see a car net there into the infield there, Benny. So was that Aaron that's dropped out? I say it would be. It's just dropped off on the screen there on my telemetry there.
Have a look at Aaron now to see what's happened here. He was getting he's come together with Scott Tamlin, and Scott was trying to make a move on the inside and spun him around there, and yeah, that's put. And then he's gone straight into the wall at the drag strip and back to the pits. So I'd say there's
just wait for your replay to come up.
Yeah, you'll see it in a moment. It looked like Aaron was quite frustrated with what occurred there, and drove it into the wall, unfortunately. But at the moment, Zach Hamlin is closing in, or being closed in on, by Gary Hamilton. That gap now is 1.9 seconds.
Somehow I think I should have went back and checked it myself. It seems a lot longer nowadays watching the replay back. So, well, it looks like I've missed that one. But yes, the boys at the front definitely keeping that gap closed. So great job here from Gary. We know how quick he is, and Zach's a new guy to TD Racing. So doing a great job for those guys as well.
Yeah, and I'll have to get the guys to have a look at their paint schemes, because Zach and Aaron, they're the only ones that I can't see the TD Racing paint scheme on them. I don't know if you can see them, but it could be Trading Paints playing up, but I can see all the other paint jobs out there.
I say it's Trading Paints there burning at the moment with Gary. I don't see his 3C's craft beer paint job that he had on there. It's all white for me, so I've been in the rooms with the TD Racing boys, so obviously I'm going to get their paint schemes up on my up through there for myself. But for some reason, Gary, as much as I've raced with him and been on track before, it doesn't seem to be working. So Trading Paints isn't working quite well tonight. Oh, as Zach goes wide there.
Certainly did. We'll get a look at that replay, folks. He's just lost that coming in into the, I don't know what you'd call that thing, the inner corner, in a loop.
Yeah, in a loop coming onto the drag strip there, Bernie. So once again, the McLaren, I reckon the wise move there for Zach would be come and dive straight into the pits. And if I was Gary, I'd be doing that the same thing as well. Wouldn't be trying to gap him. I'd be coming in now, getting your tyres on and getting that car fueled up and running to the end, because you know that you're going to be better than him for the last bit. But no, he keeps going as Zach. No, he's going through as well. So pushing this to the last 20 minutes or so, I reckon, Bernie.
Yeah, we found last week the longer the race went on, the shorter the pit stops went, and that's definitely what these guys are trying to do, is do this without tyres, I think. And I tell you what, though, looking at that replay, Zachary did a darn good job on controlling that car, because he just had a puff of smoke and he was losing traction when he gathered it back up again.
Yeah, it's, the thing here with Zach, he shouldn't be too concerned to try and get the first place back, because he's winning the championship at the moment and having a solid second, whereas Gary, I believe, unfortunately dropped out last week. So, for Zach, it's just about consolidating points here, and that's the way to win championships, being consistent. and holding is take away a good day when it could have been a lot worse than what it was.
Yeah, that's for sure. And Gary, he was having a good run last week at Bathurst. He was coming up through the field, but unfortunately he had an internet connection issue which forced him to retire from the race, and which was highly disappointing for him because he was so strong at that point, and he's looking at trying to get maximum points today. But as you said, Zach's just got to sit on the back here, and as I thought he was about to go in, but he took a very wide line. Yeah, he's just got to really sit back here and try to consolidate in second if he can't get that first place back.
Yeah, that's it, Bernie. He won last week, and his competition, I think Colin was his other main rival at the moment in fifth, so definitely got a points haul on Colin at the moment, so he just needs to consolidate this position and see how it goes. We don't know what will happen with Gary. Gary could drop out like he did last week or not, but if he sits here in second, he's definitely gained quite a few points this week.
Oh, for sure. And but if I was Zach, I wouldn't give up yet, because you got Pitts coming up, and if he can hold on the back there, I don't know how much fuel he's going to have to take compared to the BMW, but he could jump him in the pits.
Yeah, we've got pits strategy coming up. We've also got traffic coming up. I'm not saying the boys would do it, but there's definitely a lot of GT racing cars out there, so you've got teammates out there, which I know they wouldn't do, but obviously they're not going to make it easy for him, but they're not going to block him, but you've still got that sort of situation there as well.
Oh yeah, there's still a lot to unfold. 25 minutes to go. Zach is matching Gary on pace. He's only 9/10 of a second down, and you can see how much he closes in on him under heavy braking there, and like a rubber band. Having a look further down the field, the last guy on the lead lap now is Simon Feigl. He's running in 12th. All the other guys are down one lap at this point of the race, and that's Kent Walker, Pat O'Hara, Tim Ballinger, Darren Connors, Lance Hawes, Colin Hayes, and Simon Galley, all down one lap.
I think Kent just was the guy in front of these the lead pack there that's gone into the pits there, Bernie. So Kent's going to do his pit stop now, so that put him a lap down. So far we're up to 11th place that hasn't pitted yet, Bernie. So still trying to go to the end. We've got about 25 minutes to go, so they're pushing, and it looks like poor old Zachary's tyres are starting to let go bad. Looks like Gary's got a 2-second gap. If I was Zach, I'd try and get that car in and get some fresh tyres on and see if you can undercut Gary here at the moment.
Yeah, it's a tricky call, isn't it? Because if he comes in first and he throws tyres on it, all Gary's got to do then is come in and take fuel, and he's home and hosed. So as far as strategy goes, does he come in first, or does he wait and react to what Gary does?
Oh, you could always throw 2 tyres out of Bernie. That way you're getting, half the advantage. You're getting. I'd throw rear tyres at it. Keep your fronts on and throw some nice, fresh, new rear tyres on there, just so that you've got the grip through the corners. It's not going to be great for the first half a lap, but you should gain a bit of time. It just the fronts might push a little bit through the corners afterwards.
Yeah, well, that's an option, isn't it? Throwing 2 tyres onto that car and sort of going in the middle zone. We saw earlier the replay of the incident between Scott Tamlin and Aaron Osborne. It looks like, unfortunately, from that contact, both cars have retired from the race tonight. So Aaron retired on lap 30 just after that contact. Scott retired 1 lap later. Obviously, well, all I can suspect is he's had some sort of front end damage caused to that car.
Yeah, a bit of a shame there. So there's 2 guys out, and Scott was up the front there, and Aaron obviously last week was doing so well, and just had a bad night. Just didn't seem to have the car underneath him tonight. So a bit of a shame for him tonight, but Zach's out there carrying the banner at the moment and doing a great job.
Yeah, he certainly is, as we see Gary Hamilton going through again. Zachary Hanlon also goes through. Looking further down, Lewis Kugeley now for Blackadder Motorsport continues on 22 minutes. So again, we're seeing the top guys running very deep into this race before they decide to pit. Colin Schweck's the next one in fourth position with his brother Timothy behind him, both in the CarNet cars, and we'll see if they go in. Now it'd be interesting to what they could do, I guess, is try to pit one of these lower CarNet cars and try different strategies with them to try and help Zachary work out what he should do as far as his pit strategy goes.
Yeah, well, there's plenty of them out there, isn't there, Bernie? And once again, they've got their own channels that they talk on, so we'll see how they go. But I haven't been in with the boys for so long, I'm not sure what they're doing, so I'm not privy to that information at the moment. But they're doing a great job, and like I said, I do know that they're a little bit bad on tyres, these Maccas, and we can see now that Gary has got 2.5, nearly a 3-second gap here, so the old Beamer here is doing well at the moment.
And Baden Reed in the Elements Motorsports rough, he has pitted. He did a 16.2 second stop, so he didn't take tyres. He's currently in 8th and 47 seconds down. So bearing that in mind, once the other guys come in and pit, and taking into account entry and exit, Baden might be in a pretty good position towards the end of this race.
Yeah, that's it. And he was doing okay. He just had a struggle there at the start, didn't he? So he lost a bit there to Gary. We know he was in front of Gary at the start, so it'll be quite interesting if he's going to come out in front of Gary or behind him. So it's definitely going to throw a mix in there later on.
Yeah, and Adam Funslow now, he's up to 9th position, so he's making a good recovery drive. The other guy that's driving really well tonight is Simon Feigl. He's up to 11th, and he started back, I think, about 19th. Not quite sure, but he's definitely had a consistent run up through the field tonight.
Yeah, he definitely made a move there. He's I think he started out at position 8 there, Bernie, and had to go back of the field for some reason, and he's worked his way up. But he's had a pit stop too, so he's this second guy to have a pit at the moment. He's the second person to stop. So in saying that, I'm trying to get this right. Baden Reed's had a pit stop. You've got Adam and Richard in front of Simon, and he's the next one to have that pit stop. So everyone underneath him has stopped, and we've just got those other 10 guys except for Baden to stop.
Well, Gary's in now, and we'll keep an eye on his pit stop. Zachary Hanlon continued through, so did Lewis Kugeley. So let's see what Gary Hamilton's going to do. Is he throwing tyres on this car or just taking fuel with 20 minutes to go, or 19 minutes to go on my screen here? No, he's just throwing fuel. 10.4 second stop. So that's really going to... as Zachary nearly loses it again, he's going to want to just take fuel, but I don't think he's got the tyres to be able to fight for that position the way that car's going at the moment.
Yeah, Benny, it's so hard. I mean, they know that the Mac is really weak on tyres, so look, best case scenario, if I was Zach, I'd definitely try and I'd take 2 tyres, whether it be the left side, which is the side that they use predominantly, or the 2 rear ones. And if I was them, I'd take the 2 rear ones because they seem to be burning those up quite quickly.
They certainly do. And also he's got to keep an eye on Lewis Kugeley. Lewis is second at the moment, 9.2 seconds down, as Zach decides to go around again. So we'll see if Lewis reacts to Gary's stop here. And no, he's continuing through. But as these laps are wearing down, Lewis is starting to close in on the back of Zach, so he's going to have to watch himself. That's Zach, because he may end up third at this point.
Well, that's it, Bernie. You know, you can keep running and keep losing time. So sometimes you get to the point where the tyres and cars aren't working to their fullest, and you're better off coming in and getting your pit service done. Sometimes you can run too far and actually lose too much time. So maybe he's pushing that boundary. But, you know, this sort of information is good for these boys, and they'll work on that and they'll understand what's going on. And, you know, the next race they've learnt something and probably won't do that again.
Yeah, well, it's all a learning experience, especially with these guys jumping in the McLaren, because they're pretty new to that car. I think last time they were in the, I think they were all in the BMW, weren't they?
Yeah, the whole TD racing crew was actually in the BMW, and now obviously they've recruited a few more guys since then, and you know, there's a bit of a mix between the boys. We've got, you know, a couple of BMW drivers. A few of them have all gone to the Maccas. I think there's at least 4 Macca drivers, and Uncle Tim there, he's got the lone Ford GT at the moment. So a big switch there for the guys to get in the Macca, and obviously they've picked up on it pretty quickly to be up at the pointy end.
Yeah, and it's the Macca's a pretty hard car to set up too. It's not the easiest, especially coming from the BMW into the Macca. They're quite a different type of car. But we're just going to have a look at the gap at the moment, just to see what sort of lap times Gary's doing now that he's back out on his first complete lap after the pit stop. So he's lapping in a 1:31.246, Zachary Hanlon 1:31.206, and Lewis Kugley a 1:31.074. So these top three, there's not a lot in it as far as lap times go.
No, they're certainly fairly similar in lap times at the moment. Now, as I see another TD racing car in the pits for a long time there, Bernie. So just seeing, oh, yeah, it doesn't look good for where the replay went. That was Kent Walker. So looks like he had a bit of an excursion there, Bernie.
I'll just have a look and see if we can get the replay up on what occurred to Kent. That was on lap 39. So we'll have a quick look at this and see what's occurred. So he's just coming back down the infield. We've seen a lot of Maccas break loose through here, and he hasn't helped himself much. He's got both wheels on the into the dirt there, and he's gone right up on the embankment. And as we change camera view, right up on the embankment there, and I'm just seeing if he's going to hit the wall, and he does, straight into the wall. And yeah, a lot of front end damage on that car.
Yeah, it was awkward, wasn't it? The same place nearly all the Maccas have been losing it there. Well, all the TD racing Maccas have been losing it there. Just on that right-hander, they seem to be getting loose there, and he's lost it, have a half loose, and then it's just pointed it back onto the infield there and just collected the only wall that's at Sonoma and destroyed the front of his Macca.
Yeah, and while we're looking at that replay, folks, Zachary Hanlon has come into the pits. He did a 13-second stop, no tyres, and he's currently running in third position. And having a look at the live gap at the moment, according to this, it's 19 seconds down from Gary, but I don't think that's quite correct.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's right. I think the 19 seconds is Gary to Lewis. I think it's only about 5 seconds there, Bernie.
Yeah, we can see Gary just up ahead of him. So they've pretty much come out in the same position they went in. Zach's lost 13 seconds in the pits. As we can see, Lewis Kugley goes through again with 13 minutes to go.
Yeah, so Lewis is going to only be stopping fuel, I think, as well, Bernie. But once again, he's going to run that thing close to empty. I think he's going to have to make sure his fuel numbers are spot on for that.
Yeah, and John Barry, he's come in the pits, currently sitting in 7th. He did an 8.8 second stop, but Adam Newton at the moment's had the fastest stop, and he's down in 14th. He did an 8 second stop, but he's having all sorts of trouble with the handling of that car with 12 minutes to go, as we saw him take to the infield in turn 2 last lap.
My cameraman, I tell you, I was on a good battle there at the moment. It was Timothy Sweck and Simon Fiegel. They're that close, Bernie. They must be touching.
Yeah, and
it looks like Simon's gone through.
Yeah, he took the inside there in the hairpin, and I'm glad you picked that up, because my mind was elsewhere. But yeah, Simon's now up to 7th position.
So great job there. He started out of 8th, so he's moved up to 7th. So that's great driving there by Simon tonight.
Yeah, and as this race wears on, you can just see the BMWs now, just how much better they are on their tyres, because they're now starting to make ground on those McLarens.
Yeah, they certainly are. Those probably one of those things with the Macca. They got everything sorted, but gave them a disadvantage by using all their tyres. So just to even out the field and make it a little bit interesting, I suppose you would say, Bernie. But it's good to see, and it just throws that little bit of spice into this racing, doesn't it?
Certainly does. Lewis is in. Gary's gone through. Zach's gone through. Let's see, 12.8 seconds. Where's Baden Reed? Baden's just coming onto the straight now. So Lewis will hang on to 3rd at this stage. So the order at the moment, folks: Gary Hamilton first. Zachary Hanlon takes back 2nd. Lewis Kugeley is in 3rd, followed by Baden Reed 4th. And then Colin Schweck, he's quite a long way down, 41 seconds in 5th position. So yeah, Lewis's stop was a 12.8 seconds. So looking at the top 3, Gary Hamilton, he's gained a good 2 seconds just in pit strategy there.
Yeah, so Gary's got his numbers sorted there. I'm just checking out on something here, Bernie. Just Lance Horses seems to be sitting in the pit lane for a long time. Hasn't really had a big incident, but just seems like he had an issue there, and I don't know. It seems really weird. Maybe he's had enough. I'm not sure, Bernie. It's hard to say. I can't see too much wrong with his car.
Yeah, he had front end damage, and he's just coming out of the pits now. He did have an off track, but I don't think that caused that damage. As we're just having a look at a replay, because that car's he's gone off up the top of the circuit and collected the wall. So that would account for his long pit stop.
Yeah, it just didn't seem like it hit that bad, if you know what I mean, Bernie. So, yeah, just one of those weird things. Maybe it did more damage, or he's had damage earlier. So, a bit of bad luck there for Lance. He's a solid runner for Kimmy's Rule Fencing. So, unlucky, and he loves his driving. So, a bit of a hard luck there for him tonight.
Yeah, it's definitely that hit was a brush, but having a look at the nose on that, the servers thought that, the hit might have been harder than what we saw on the TV, which has caused him to have to get that car fixed, but he's still circulating, 18th now, 2 laps down. Our retirements at the moment, still only Scott Tamlin, Aaron Osborne.
Oh, and Simon's got another position there, I believe. He's got around John Barry there. So John Barry had a moment and gave Simon the opportunity to get around. So Simon's back up into 7th. Oh, well, it should be 6th now. So great driving there. And his next victim will be Colin. And we know the Maccas are struggling here. So a good opportunity for Simon to get another position.
Definitely. We're just having a look at the replay here. Simon was right on the back of John there up the top of the circuit, and putting a lot of pressure under him, which he forced a mistake there, and John hit the ripple strip, and Simon pounced basically.
Doing a great job, Simon, here tonight. So he'll be proud of this effort tonight, that's for sure.
Oh, definitely. And having a look at the gap, he's got Colin Schweck just in front of him. And as you said, he's going to try and take that position. And if he gets in the top 5, that'll be a great drive.
Oh, and it looks like Zach's had an issue there. Is he in the pits there, Bernie? So Zach's actually dropping down here, so not a good sign here for Zach.
Yeah, definitely he's dropping down. He's, let's have a look. He's had a couple of off tracks. We'll have a look at the second one just to see if we can pick up what's happened to Zach. I think his tyres are gone, you know.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Hey, Bernie, it's the whole thing was definitely having a lot of issues.
Yeah, well, it's come unstuck at the worst possible point into turn 1, and he's clouded that inside fence, and they've had to tow that car back because he could not get it out. That's how hard he hit.
Yeah, I'm just coming back now, Bernie, as well, around the hairpin here. So he was struggling getting into there. He was off track a bit, so car not handling quite that good from that point. And we know he's been struggling. And oh yes, I've seen that. What a massive lose it is, Bernie. Yeah. No wonder I couldn't see it. The poor old cameraman couldn't keep up.
Yeah, that's right. And we're riding on board now with Zach, and we'll stay on board. As we can see what the driver would see, and all you've got there, folks, is one big cement wall. But gee, he hit hard.
That was massive. That was a massive impact. I mean, in real life, I don't think you'd want to be sitting in that car, that's for sure. There'd be definitely yellow flags for that one.
Oh, for sure. And yeah, but that's cost Zach a really good position. I just think his tyres, he just pushed that car beyond its ability to hang on with those tyres for the last 5 minutes, which is very unfortunate, but at least now he knows the limit of the tyres for that car.
Yeah, as we're back here, I've just jumped back here with Colin and Simon. Simon's really hounding Colin at the moment, so I wouldn't be surprised if Simon gets a position here.
Yeah, Simon's car is handling so much better than the McLaren at the moment, and he's so racy. He's, you know, showed form all night as he's come up through the field, and he's really showing it now.
Yeah, I think he'll have a look here at the hairpin for sure, Bernie. It's hard going through the S's here at the moment, but gets a good run here out of the next corner onto the little chute here, and gets a good run and a dive into the corner. He should have this position. Yeah, not close enough.
It's interesting. He takes a wider line there as his the back end just steps out a little bit on Simon's car.
Just giving it a little bit of, trying to push that car a little bit earlier, trying to get on their gas a little bit earlier than Colin there to try and get that position or stay on him as we went past, and you see those big skid marks there from Zachary into turn 1 there. So you know, trying to push here. He's just got to hang on to him. He's got a couple of opportunities here at the moment, Benny, if he times itself right.
And he doesn't want to wait too long, though, because while this battle's going on, John Barry's closing up on the back of these guys.
Oh, as Colin's lost it again. The Macca is struggling, and oh, geez, he nearly gets taken out there. Oh, man, Bernie, that was a massive moment.
Certainly was. I was holding my breath. I'm just trying to... oh, man. Let's go back and have a look at this replay. Lance Hawes is also off the track at this stage.
Colin's car is trash. He cannot get that thing to turn properly, so he'll be in the pits getting that repaired. That's Colin's night done. So, yeah, the tyres are gone on those Maccas. It just seems like that setup there on the TD Racing boys' Maccas are just too aggressive on the tyres, and I think they went for speed instead of comfort, I suppose, Bernie, you could say.
Yeah, and I tell you what, as you said, he nearly got collected by his teammate there. and he lost it again further down, so that car is toast.
So Baden there fighting there at the moment, trying to get around a lap car, I think it is. So that's Simon's next victim, we could may as well say, but he's got a bit there. He's got 26 seconds to gain on him, so he's a bit of a ways down, but well, 2 minutes here. He's not going to do that, Bernie.
No, he won't make that up. I think his run is as high as fourth for tonight with 2.5 minutes of this race to go. Gary Hamilton has bolted. The gap at the moment, folks, over 13 seconds. Yep, 12.4 seconds is the gap at the line for Gary Hamilton back to Lewis Kugeley. But Lewis has had a good drive too, hasn't he? He was in the top 5, but as the race has progressed, he's got stronger.
Yeah, Lewis, he's a good driver. What can you say? We've seen him throughout last year. He was a great driver there, and still is, and loves his Beamer. So does a great job in that car, and drives for Blackadder Motorsports. So does a great job, and good to see. Bernie, we've actually got BMWs up the front this time. Just goes to show a nice, comfortable, consistent car will probably get you there. The Maccas just couldn't hang on to their tyres tonight, I don't think.
Yeah, that's right. As the race has gone on, the Maccas are chewed through their tyres and unfortunately cost two of the TD Racing boys good positions. But yeah, so we've got at the moment Gary Hamilton BMW, Lewis Kugeley BMW in second, third Baden Reid in the rough for Elements, fourth another BMW with Simon Feigl in the Way of Life entry, and then fifth another BMW. So the first of the McLarens is Timothy Schweck running in sixth position at this stage. Yeah,
a bit of a turnaround, but I think probably look at Sonoma or Infineon Raceway. It's pretty dirty, and I think you find that track's pretty abrasive at the best of times, of being hot. And we know the Maccas just don't handle tyre wear that great at the moment, so it looks like it bit them. Probably trying not to take tyres have hurt them and cost them a position or two, Bernie.
Yeah, and as you said, Sonoma's got a lot of dust around there, and with the new, don't know what you call it, grind physics or whatever they want to call it, where they can carry that back onto the circuit, that could have affected them. But it's interesting to see where the McLarens came unstuck, and that's on the infield, and it claimed a good probably 4 or 5 of those cars tonight.
Yeah, certainly does, as we're on the last lap now, Bernie, and Gary's rounding, come off the dragway strip here and starting to come through the S's, so he's just about finished this lap, and basically we could say that he's got the race win sewn up there, Benny.
You can say that. I'm not until he crosses that line, because if he stacks it, you're the one to blame. But as we can see now, Gary Hamilton coming down in the final corners, and then one more turn to go, and he will take round 2 of the Australian GT3 Championship here at Infineon Raceway.
As he makes it get a little bit loose coming out of the hairpin there, Bernie, coming up onto the start-finish line, and well done there to Gary to take out round 2, as Lewis Kugeley is now rounding around, and Baden Reid right on his tail as well, so well done to those guys tonight.
Yeah, and I reckon this guy's the mover of the race, Simon Feigl at the moment, 4th position. Fantastic drive here and a well-earned 4th as he's coming around the final corner now with John Barry right on his tail. So Simon Feigl will finish 4th. John Barry will finish 5th for Blackadder Motorsport.
I'm back here with Timothy Schweck with a few lap cars, so a little bit messy here, and they're all CarNet auction cars, so there's 3 of them here trying to oh geez, that got a bit messy again, Bernie, so the boys are going to have to start talking to each other, I think.
Yeah, It's a good photo opportunity for their sponsor, though, as they all cross the line there. But, yeah, there's 4 of them. Riley Blythe also mentioned there, finished 7th on my telemetry here. Adam Funslow, good drive there. I've got him down as 8th, but 7th on the things. But that's a good recovery drive by Adam.
Yeah, no, a great drive. He started 13th too, so he made his way back through half his position. So awesome job there from Adam. He didn't qualify that well, but got into 7th. So good job there. Riley ended up finishing 8th, and then we got Richard Brookfield. Didn't talk a lot about him tonight. So done a great job, Richard. So good job by him. And then Uncle Tim rounded out the top 10, so brought that Ford home in the top 10, Benny. Great effort.
Certainly is, and we're just having a look at Pat O'Hara here at the moment. He came in 11th and 1 lap down. Darren Connors, his teammate, 12th and 1 lap down.
Yeah, solid job there from one that started 19th and finished 11th, so just did his job and brought it home in 11th, so gained 8 places. So just shows to show you keep at it. You can be given a few positions if you can stick at it.
Yeah, that's for sure. And we're just having a look at our race winner, Gary Hamilton, here, enjoying his celebration as he was doing some donuts on the infield in there. It's interesting, the smoke physics doesn't work with donuts.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, I suppose. It's just one of those tidy things that they have to try and figure out, I suppose.
Yeah, it certainly is. And it looks like we have Lewis Kugeley in the green room, so we'll bring him up for a chat. Lewis finished 2nd. Hi Lewis, welcome to RRTV's commentary booth, and congratulations on a strong race tonight and coming in 2nd.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. That's what you need to do in championship situations, just rack up points and stay clean and finish. So yeah, I think we're equal first in the championship with Baden now, so that's the goal, especially with the lack of practice. So yeah, happy with that.
Yeah, it was a good drive, and I tell you what, the earlier on in the race, the McLarens were really strong, but it just seemed like their tyres just couldn't handle the distance compared to the BMW.
My tyres are pretty scary too. I mean, that's where I probably lost out to Gary. I thought. I think his tyres held on a lot better and a lot longer, which was all testament to him. That's why he got the win, well deserved. I think even Baden's tyres at the ends were pretty good too from the rough, but the McLaren seems to, once they lose that edge, they seem to get loose and they start to slip and slide, and then they have that tendency to snap oversteer and be evil on them. So unfortunately with some of those guys, that's what happened tonight. And us BMWs have an easier time of it. Still skating in those last 20 to 30 minutes. So yeah.
Yeah, and we're talking in the broadcast about the the new dirty lines and things like that. Did you notice if any dirt was carried onto the circuit, and if you actually noticed that while you were lapping?
I don't think so. I know it's there, and I know I've noticed it in the past on other sessions and other races, but not really tonight. I mean, around me there wasn't too many guys spinning off or dropping wheels. My sort of race started off pretty close together with a lot of guys bunched up. It really spaced out, after about 20, 30 minutes, and so really I didn't really get to see that effect too much today. But I know it's there, and you can tell the difference if it happens a lot. So, I mean, that's something you have to look out for.
Yeah, well, it was a really strong drive by yourself, and also your teammate John Barry, 5th for Blackadder Motorsports. So a strong drive all up for your team tonight. So you guys have to be happy with the result.
Yeah, especially happy John. Awesome job. He had a fortunate race last week with a disconnect. He was looking for another solid top 10. But yeah, we didn't get much practice. I started practicing probably halfway through qualifying, and we didn't have an optimal setup. We used our setup from Unilaga, so we weren't quite there in terms of setup, and it was really tough over the curb, so we sort of struggled a little bit in that regard. But in these races, especially 80 minutes when no one takes tyres, it's important to get home, and that's what we did. So John did a fantastic job, and yeah, 2 Blackadder cars in the top 5 and solid championship position for me is a good start to the season.
Yeah, it certainly is. And before I let you go, I'll hand you over to Adrian just to see if he's got any questions for you, Lewis.
Yeah, thanks, Benny. Well done, Lewis, on second place. Perfect. Always helps when people drop out, but or come off track. But solid effort, even with the lack of practice, mate.
Yeah, that's it. I was contemplating just skipping this week. Didn't want to embarrass myself, especially started qualifying, but I just chucked on the Interlagos setup. I thought that would be close because we've sort of redone our setups, and we haven't done. I don't know anyone in the team that's done any GT3 racing here, and we sort of didn't work on it this week. So it was sort of because we've got the Daytona 24 coming up in AEC and also GT, so we've got other priorities. But fortunately for us, it worked out to be good. The car felt okay. We need to do a little bit more work next week, and we got to close that gap to Gary. And those McLarens are still mega strong, and Baden in that rough. I mean, when you're not dropping it off the track, it's pretty quick. It's been pegged back a little bit, but it's still there or thereabouts. Doesn't have any weaknesses, and it's a bullet out of the corner. So, really exciting season.
Yeah, it certainly is. It seemed to have got the physics there for all these different makes pretty close this season. We do know that they're going to drop 2 of them for the next build, but obviously it'd be interesting for that. But good to see, and definitely interesting to watch how everyone reacts and moves forward through this series. I know Sonoma Long was something that no one has really actually used. Is something that's a track that not many leagues or even iRacing use at the moment. Yeah,
I remember running at Cadillac Cup probably 2 years ago, and I've done about 1 or 2 races there, but apart from that, and when you have it on the NASCAR schedule, it's not really used that often. It's a good little track, actually. I mean, it has advantages and disadvantages, and it works good with these cars because there's certain sectors of the track where you know the rough's going to be stronger, and then you know the BMW is going to be good through the high speed stuff, and then the McLaren's pretty solid throughout. So yeah, it's a good racetrack to run these cars on, so it should be used more often.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there, Lewis. So, but anyway, congratulations once again. And before we let you go, you want to chuck a shout out to your sponsors and anyone else you want to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, I'll do it quickly. Thanks to GP Racing Asia for their support week in, week out. Thanks to the boys. We know we're doing a lot of Daytona 24-hour practice. We've got a DP entry and 3 BMWs, so we've got about 25 guys preparing for that, which is really good to see. Obviously, congrats to John for the awesome effort tonight. Top 5 is really good. Probably his first top 5 for the team in this series, which is great. Congrats to Gary on the win, and obviously Baden on the 3rd. You guys, RRTV for the broadcast, awesome job, and TD Racing Asia, the crew here. Great new series, and we're looking forward to it, and I'll be back next week. See you guys.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, thanks for popping up, Lewis, and see you next week.
Yeah, see you, mate.
Okay, Adrian, we've got our race winner in the green room, and I'm going to throw you in the deep end to see how rusty you are and let you lead this interview.
Oh, thanks, mate. Well done, Gary. Welcome to the RRTV commentary booth. Awesome race. You held it in there and took the win, mate.
Thanks, Adrian. G'day, guys. Yeah, was not expecting that result. I haven't had a chance to run the car all week, and unfortunately I had a drop out of last week's round, so I didn't get to feel what the car was like in the race. And to be honest, we were having bets who was going to last the least amount of laps, and I thought I was going to be one of them.
Yeah, it's the track temperature like this in Sonoma. I think seeing it's so hot. I mean, it's like you could say WA sort of track, couldn't you? Like Barbagallo, where it's dry and dusty and should be quite abrasive. And good to see that the old BMW held its own and could run the tyres throughout the whole race.
Yeah, obviously that was the going to be the concern, I guess, for everybody. That temperature, that track, like you say. It is a bit looser than most tracks. People know that, and that was obviously the biggest worry. And I had no idea how it was going to go. I guessed the race set, and and just basically just tried to drive it as smooth as I could. It probably didn't look like that at some times because it was a bit of a struggle, but yeah, at the start there I thought, well, you know, that Zach was gone. But then saw Scotty made a bit of a mistake, got up to second, and then, you know, just started putting their laps together, trying to do it, like I said, as smooth as I could without crashing, which was difficult. But all of a sudden the gap started to come back, and I could see it coming back in a couple of larger chunks later on in the race. So I had an idea then that yeah, the Macca was struggling, or Zach was struggling there with that car and those tyres. So that was good to see, and yeah, managed to catch up.
I think this track here is actually probably it gives you that different thing where strategy is probably something that probably needed to be worked on a little bit more. Just watching the race for myself and Bernie, we were sitting up here wondering who would take tyres, who wouldn't, and we knew the Mac was actually quite hard on tyres compared to the rest of the cars, so quite strange to see the boys actually try and push that poor old Mac all the way without tyres.
Yeah, I guess look, the issue with taking tyres now is the extra penalty as such, with the time that it takes. So now to obviously make up for putting on tyres, you need to have the tyres have worn, you know, significantly enough to add on that extra time now it takes for the pit. So, and that's a decision that you've got to make, you know, halfway along the race or something. You can't leave it later, because then with the fresh tyres you won't make the time back up, and then it's pointless. Unless, of course, the car's, you know, not capable of making the distance. But for outright pace, yeah, you've just got to push it. You've got to go without taking tyres, otherwise, you know, you'll probably make it to the end, but you know, you'll be in mid-back somewhere.
Yeah, and I suppose with the race distance, with the 80 minutes, it certainly throws it up there, doesn't it? It definitely keeps you in those two minds in which way you want to go with your setup. So you've always got to make sure that you've got an A, B and C plan there to make you through the whole race, don't you?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you do, because you know, there has been times when the tyres have gone so bad that, you know, you drop 2-3 seconds a lap. Now, if that starts happening, obviously with the pits the way they are now, I think about 30 seconds or something for tyres. So you need to look at that. If it's 2 seconds a lap, it's only 15 laps. So, you know, if you've got more than 15 laps to go, then sure, then that's when you do it. The problem is, yeah, you need to either test the whole race distance, or yeah, have that plan and have an idea of how much drop off you can afford in your lap times.
And it's good to see a track like this, Sonoma Long, in a series too, isn't it? It's something that you don't get to see very often. It's a track that not many guys actually run in a league or even on iRacing at the moment.
No, I think for most of the opinions, I can see why. Not many people like it. I do like the track, but the problem with it mainly is its lack of grip, and especially like these conditions when the track temp is up, yeah, it's very, very difficult.
Yeah, I'm one of those people, Gary, that's in between. I love the cup layout. I think that's a brilliant track, but I don't like the long circuit, so I'm sort of in between. I probably wouldn't have liked it so much on this, because I just the inner part where you can't cut back in and run along the drag strip, I find that's the most difficult part about the circuit.
Which bit was that? The last portion there?
Oh, the inner part of the track. I find that the most pain in the backside sort of situation to get through there, because I think the corners are sort of off camber, aren't they? A couple of areas, and that's probably why it helps for those cars to get a bit loose.
Yeah, sorry, I know what you're talking now. Yeah, of course, that off camber over the hill, you know, dropping off left-hander that it comes onto that drag strip a bit. Yeah, I mean, that one was, I don't know how many almost losers I had there. That's where Zach came unstuck when I was following him. Yeah, it's just really difficult. And once those tyres are worn, you know, you just get a little bit wrong, or you tap the brake, you know, in the corner, or carry it in a little bit too long, and then it comes out. Once it loses grip around that corner because of the camber and the sort of the fall off, very difficult to hold on to it there.
Yeah, so we're going to hand you over now to Bernie, Gary. But once again, congratulations on the win. Good to, at least you were stuck in there for the whole race. You didn't have a dropout. So be looking forward to watch your race next week.
Yeah, thanks, Adrian. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, Gary, Bernie here. It was a good drive by you again this week. Unfortunately, last week's great drive was ended with that internet problem. But at what point in the race did you think you had this race sewn up?
Well, definitely not until, even, right until the end there when Zach had that unfortunate incident in turn 1. We came out of the pits, I definitely closed up. The tyres were better, got the pass, pulled a little gap even in the pit, so that's all looking good. But 4 seconds is nothing, because you can make just that tiny mistake, just like he did. Slide wide somewhere. You'll easily cost yourself 4 seconds, and that's the lead. So not until I saw him drop off, then I was pretty happy with the gap back to third. It was about 14 seconds or something, so I was pretty comfortable then.
Yeah, and as the race progressed, was it really noticeable, the drop-off of performance on the McLarens for you? Yeah,
so obviously the only one I had to judge was Zach in the lead. So just watching that gap every time. Once I got to second, I was pushing as hard as I could, as hard as I could go. And, I could see the time. I might drop a 10th and then he'd get it back, or 2. And we went back and forward a little bit around the 6 second mark. At that point I thought, he's got this, no worries, like the pace. It wasn't until, it was like probably 20 laps of following him, maybe more, I could start to see that it was coming off in chunks, not just a tenth a lap. So that's sort of an indication that, having small moments somewhere on the track. And once it sort of started, you could just see it happening more and more. So that's a good indication that he's struggling pretty bad with the tyres.
Yeah, fantastic. And I guess we'll see you back on the track next week for the third round of the Australian GT3 Championship. And are you going to contest in the Australian Endurance Championship?
I'll definitely be back next weekend for the next one of these. Happy the internet didn't drop out on me, so that's handy. As far as the Endurance Championship, I think we haven't planned a team as such, but there are, I think, some teams asking for some drivers. So if I can fill a spot for someone, I'll be more than happy to do that.
Fantastic. Well, once again, congratulations on tonight's win. And before we let you go, is there any sponsors or supporters you want to give a shout out to tonight?
So first up, obviously, a big shout out for Tim putting on the series. It's excellent. There's a whole bunch of us. I know we love racing on the Sunday night. Obviously, RRTV doing a fantastic job there and getting this out there. So thank you very much, guys. On that point as well, I haven't got it on the car because I didn't do this paint, but another word out there for Will Power's book, Sheer Force for Willpower. Get out there and get it. It's still available, I'm sure, and it's a good read. And of course, a big shout out to the Element boys. We're all running different cars and seeing what's what. It was unfortunate to see Scotty fall off there because he was really quick here. And Baden finished up there with a really nice podium in third.
Yeah, it was definitely a great drive by Baden tonight. But anyway, Gary, thanks for popping in, and we look forward to seeing you on the track next week.
Thanks, guys. See you then.
Okay, it looks like we've lost one of the Schweck boys, but we still have Zachary Hanlon in, so we'll bring Zachary up and have a bit of a chat with him about the tyre wear on this McLaren.
Yeah, may as well, Bernie. You're also teammate to Colin anyway, so we'll probably get the same information off him as well.
Fantastic. Well, our final interview tonight is with Zachary Hanlon from TD Racing. First off, my commiserations on the way that race went for you. It looked like earlier on your car was really competitive, but unfortunately it just looks like you chewed through those tyres.
Yeah, g'day Bernie and Adrian. Yeah, look, the initial start to the race was pretty fantastic. You know, got a good start, got a couple of seconds ahead, and really was running some really nice consistent times. You know, high 29s, low 30s. But yeah, around probably a third of the race distance, really started to notice the front tyres started to go first, and I just wasn't getting the turn in, or I was getting a lot of understeer, particularly through that double apex right-hander down the back of the circuit. I started losing a lot of time, and then the rears started to go quite badly as well, so I was dealing with not being able to hit the apexes properly, and also struggling to put down the power as I was coming out of them. And I also, you know, running wide through that left-hand sweep wasn't fantastic. I actually just got a new wheel, and for some reason, an upshift activated my pit speed limiter. So I just got slightly distracted by that on the turn before, and just probably had a lack of concentration coming into that corner and just got a bit loose. I was actually pretty lucky not to spin it because I thought I was going to go round. And then Gary got through. I kind of just tried to keep up with him for a bit, which was, you know, I kept on with him for a bit, and then during the pits, I came into the pits, my pit limiter didn't activate for about 3 hits, so I think I lost probably about 2 seconds in the pits to him there. I probably added a little more fuel than I should have as well, and then, yeah, unfortunately lap 50 coming into turn 1, the car just snapped on me without warning, and I got stuck in the wall, which was pretty unfortunate.
Yeah, it was definitely a huge hit. We were actually, in the replay, we went live on board with you with that hit to show the viewers just how quickly these cars snap. And it's puts you in an interesting position, all these Macca drivers, for this series, because it seems to me the trend of the BMW drivers is to do this without tyres, but what's your thoughts on that as far as a McLaren driver goes? Do you think you can get these cars to the end on the same set of tyres?
Yeah, well, assuming I hadn't have had that big hit, I probably could have made it. It wasn't really that sketchy up until that point where it let go. I could have made it to the end if that hadn't happened, I think. But we were talking before the race about taking tyres. We figured that if you were starting to lose about a second a lap by the end of by about halfway, it was probably going to be worth taking tyres. But kind of unfortunately, we were going too quickly. Our pace stayed in the low 30s. I mean, my fastest was a 29.7, I think, and we were staying in the low 30s until, I mean, pretty much 2/3 of the race through. So, and then we only had, you know, 20 laps left, and so we couldn't really justify changing the tyres. But it will be interesting, especially at Suzuka, which is, you know, more of a, I guess, I think that'll really punish the front tyres, and I think you'll see the understeer, especially through the S's and through 130R, will mean that we'll lose a lot of time, and we may end up changing tyres there, but it could change throughout the season. Obviously, it is a big penalty to take tyres. It's 27 odd seconds, so yeah, it's kind of just something you have to judge on the day, and obviously the hotter temperatures make a big difference as well.
Yeah, especially at Sonoma, the temperature out there today was 38 degrees on the track. But anyway, before I let you go, I'm going to hand you over to Adrian Jarvis here. I'm sure he's got a few questions for you.
Yeah, thanks, Benny. Yeah, Zachary, it's a shame that you dropped out there and had a few issues, but good to see the boys out there. We've got quite a few different makes out there. We've got four McLarens for you guys, and 2 Beamers and Uncle Tim's in the Ford GT, so it makes it a bit interesting for you guys to get your setups right.
Yeah, absolutely. We've actually got Josh Nowak in a rough as well, so we do cover all 4 classes, which is nice. You know, Tim is a bit of a setup wizard, so he puts a lot of effort into setting up the BMWs for Pat and Colin, and I think Tim is running in the BMW as well, so he definitely puts in a lot of effort there. We got Aaron and Colin Schweck putting in a lot of effort on the McLaren setups as well, which is good. Josh, unfortunately, is a bit on his own, and so is Tim, but Tim's more than capable of putting up a good setup on the car. So it is really good. You know, Kent as well. Kent Walker does a fantastic job of making all of our liveries, and all the cars look fantastic. So it's really nice to see 4 different makes of car out there shining in such good fashion.
Yeah, Kent certainly does a awesome job on the liveries on these cars, and I just got his car up there now. It looks like he's got Darth Maul on the top of his roof, so he's added something a little bit special on the top of the roof of his car. So if you ever want to check that out, and I dropped him in it there, so no one's probably not noticed it, but yeah, no, he does an awesome job there, and obviously with the new sponsor there on the team as well, helps you guys out as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Would love to say a big thanks to Carnet Auctions. You know, they help us out a lot. They're a good. I've checked out their stuff, and it's really slick website. So if you are looking to buy a car, you should definitely head down there. So, and having them as the title sponsor of the series is also really great as well. And having you guys commentate as well is really fantastic. You guys do a great job, and we all really appreciate it.
Yeah, and I believe you've got a nickname that you're the Stephen Bradbury of the team at the moment after last week at Bathurst. Maybe.
I think that's Riley, actually.
Oh, was that Riley? Oh,
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm going to catch up. I've been out of the loop for so long, so
No, that's
trying to
okay.
catch up. But yeah, it's Riley had a little bit of a hard time tonight, but on the whole, the team's done quite well.
Yeah, look, I think we got a couple. I think we got 1 or 2 in the top 10, which is okay. Obviously, we had a 1, 2, 3 last week, which would have was a much better result. But we'll try to keep up the consistency throughout the season, and hopefully we'll have someone sitting at the top of the table when all's said and done.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for that, Zach. Done a great job. Just a shame with the car through the race, and definitely got a speed in there in that Macca, and good to see you boys up there and showing the way. So be looking forward to next week when we're at Suzuka, and the Macca might do a little bit better. A few longer straights there, get that Macca up at top speed, and be shooting down those straightaways.
Yeah, well, that's absolutely the plan. So we'll see you next week, guys. Thank you very much once again for your commentating, and we'll see you in a week's time.
Yeah, thanks, Zach.
Well, Adrian, before we wrap this broadcast up, drive of the day, I'm voting for Simon Feigl at this point in time.
You know what, Bernie, I'm not going to argue that one. Simon did a good job from where he started, and getting those positions in the dying minutes of the race. Just a top effort, putting the pressure on, and getting through nice and clean. So that's what you want to see, and done a fantastic job.
Yeah, and that car finished clean as well, which was great. So good job there for Simon, drive of the day. Another special shout out, of course, to Adam Funslow on a pretty solid recovery drive there. He came in 8th position at the end of tonight, so that's good for the iLEX sponsored car. But folks, if you like your iRacing, we have plenty more coming up this week for you. Tomorrow night, of course, we have the Skip Barber Monday Lights Racing Series, and that is at Spa-Francorchamps, and well worth a look. We go live at 9 p.m. This Wednesday night, the Australian Sports Car Pro-Am is back, and again we will be live with you at 9:15 p.m, and that'll be a Daytona night race, and they've changed the field a bit on the mix of the drivers and classes, so that's going to be quite interesting. So if you like your Pro-Am, definitely check that out. Well, Adrian, it's great to have you back on board, and welcome back to 2016, and yeah, congratulations on, I think you became a grandfather recently.
Yeah, thanks, Bernie. Yeah, came a poppy just before Christmas, so it's been a bit of a hectic few months there just before Christmas, so that's why I've been missing in action up until now. But yeah, looking forward to this season. Looks like we've got brilliant racing again here in our Australian community. you know, got to thank TD Racing and Carnet for bringing on this series for the first start of 2016. Be great to jump in with the Pro-Am next week. We've also got AEC with a total sponsor as well. So, yeah, this year's looking great, and racing in our E community is looking strong as ever, and looking forward for 2016.
Yeah, there's a lot of great events coming up, and of course RRTV will be bringing you the Australian Endurance Championship again. And that will commence on the 30th, so that's starting with the 24-hour race around Daytona. So I know a lot of teams have been preparing for that race. But anyway, folks, it's the end of our broadcast tonight. Thank you for watching RRTV. If you liked the video, press the like button. It definitely helps me out. Let your friends and family know. If you like your iRacing and like what we do, subscribe to our channel. Every subscriber helps us get to that magic 1,000 mark, which is our goal for this year. But anyway, Adrian, thanks for joining me, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow night.